Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm a nerd, and you're not. Or maybe you are, but you're probably not, because that's our job. And you are here for Attorney Computer Systems October 2015 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting. Try and say that all in one breath. I bet you can't do it. Today, we are talking about QuickClicks. And we're going to kind of trade off, Mary Jo and myself, and we're going to go all the way through everything to do with QuickClicks. We're not going to get into some of the substance, but we're going to get into what they are, how they trigger certain functionality. So it's not about how that functionality works, but how you use QuickClicks to get to these things.
So let's get into the client. We're going to start there. Now, just so you understand that QuickClicks are on all of the screens that have a list. So if you have, right now the client list, or if I was on the fee list, or the journal list, or whatever I would be on, QuickClicks are there, but they may be different. They might have a few different functions depending on what you're in. Some don't make sense to have on certain screens, so they have different buttons that you can push in QuickClicks. So you have different take action buttons or different things that are available. So from screen to screen on list screens, they can be different. But we're going to start in client first off, and we're going to start right up here at the top. And in clients, we have a little filter that's built in. It is called all clients or just the active only. If you want to just eliminate the inactive clients here, you can just quickly toggle right here. And now I would be seeing my active only clients. If I want to see all the clients on this that we have in the system, inactive and active, I can toggle that back to be all clients. So that's the first thing, and that was built in, I want to say in 16 maybe. So if you've got a prior version to that, you might not have that function here. So that is somewhere circa 16 is what we'll say. This became available. Before that, you would have to have built your own filter to have that happen. But for now, in 17, we do have that, and it is very simple to flip back and forth.
Now I'm going to interject a couple things real quick. I am going to say that this filter here, I'm trying to get this GoToWebinar control panel out of the way. Didn't we talk about this just now? Yeah. This filter is independent of other filters that we're going to show you. So that's really cool. You can have this on or off, and it doesn't matter that you might have another filter selected that we'll get to in just a second. I also want to go back just a little ways, and I want to emphasize a couple things about how you operate this QuickClicks panel. This thing here is a pin, a push pin, and this currently is pushed in. So that means that this QuickClicks is going to stay out no matter what I do. If I get over here, it's still there. If I unpin it, it becomes a tab that when I am not hovered over it, it goes away, and when I hover over the tab, it comes back. If I want to then pin it open, I can do that. So this pin is either pinned or not. Another thing that you've got to understand is that these different sections collapse and expand based on whether or not you've clicked this button to do that. So we are now looking at all the sections collapsed. And then this arrow will indicate whether or not clicking it will expand it or collapse it. So those two things are real nice to understand, because some people don't have enough room to have this QuickClicks open all the time. They just have a small screen. And some people don't have enough room to show all the things that they might want to work with, so that you have to understand how to expand and contract these. So I'm going to trade back over to Mary Jo, and she can start talking about some of these things. Okay. So we're going to go into the Take Action section. And the first thing that we have is our e-Notify. And the e-Notify is going to attach whatever record you have over here, a link to that, so that if you're using e-Notes, you can attach that record. If I'm in a calendar, I can have that calendar record be attached to an e-Note, and then whoever I'm e-noting that to can open that, and they can do it. So in QuickClicks, instead of having to go in and click on e-Note and go in and do all that, I can just click on e-Notify over my QuickClicks, and it will do all that for me. Disclaimer. disclaimer.
I'm getting there. You see, I just clicked on that because in my version, I am not in a Platinum version. You have to have Platinum for that to work. Notes is a feature of Platinum, and that is only available there. And so if you click on that and you get that little message box that I just had pop up, then you need to call Paul and I, and we will tell you all about Platinum and why you should have it.
And we'll have Patty send you a prepay invoice so that you can buy it.
Yep, and you will love it.
And you will love it.
All right, Paul.
Now, before I go into display history, which I'll do in just a second, I want to also say that just about everything that you can do here, you can do by right-clicking. You'll notice that you also have an action menu here. You also have a report menu here and a workflow menu. So QuickClicks is kind of like an on-screen visual version, always open version, always accessible version of the right-click menu. So here I am right-clicking, and the same things I can do when I right-click, I can also do over here. You can also do a couple extra things when you right-click, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I just wanted to point that out. Display history, this is probably one of the coolest things in the world. I'm going to get Michael Larson on the screen because I think he's got some changes. I'm going to display history, and it says he doesn't have any changes, so I'm going to actually go back to, I may not have history information for anybody, so I may just have to explain that display history, when turned on, will allow you to track changes that are made to the fields in the record that you are currently highlighting. So if somebody were to have gone in and changed this person's address, and I may not even have history tracking turned on, so I'm going to disclaim right now that if I add -test and save it, it still may not show up in my display history, but we're going to try it just for fun. Yep, there it is. I now see that user Ron, because that's who I'm logged in at, changed on the 23rd because it thinks it's the 23rd because this is my demo system. At 2:13, it doesn't know what time it is. It changed the description, and the old value was auto accident, and now it's auto accident -test. So that's history tracking. And
disclaimer there too, if you delete something, it does not track that history anymore. The record is gone. So if you want, only changes that have been made. If somebody comes in and deletes a record, you're kind of, you're out. There's other things that we could set in place to help you recover whatever happened, but history is only going to track things that have been changed.
Correct.
Added or changed, not there. If you happen to have a phone dialing system, external from tabs, we can hook into that. There is a dial phone feature here, so you can just go ahead and click that, and it will pop up, and it will have the number here, and you can go ahead and dial that number. It will also let you start the timer, and it will begin to time the call for that client, and it will have that. Now, this is an external thing that you need to hook in, so you'll probably need to make sure you've got that software that you can dial the phone right from your computer.
Bottom line, I'll tell you, if it's an IP-based phone system, then you probably have this capability, but you have to probably hook it up.
Yeah, and then it has a user Windows phone dialer to dial the phone, whatever it is here. This can be connected to it, and then you can go ahead and you can dial the phone right from QuickClicks.
Our humble moderator has indicated that we have a question. Humble moderator, are you there?
Yes, I am here. The question is, back on the history tracking, Anne would like to know where you turn that on.
Well, let's get out of here real quick. And remember, we're not getting into too much substance, but it's Anne, so, we like to be nice to Anne. Mary Jo's going to take control because she knows where to go better than I do.
It's in your customization, and it's right down here. So you just want to make sure it's enabled. And you can limit the size if you want, but you don't need to. That can just be unchecked. That's just how big that file is going to keep accumulating. You can just let that be on, nowadays we've got a lot of memory or RAM or whatever it is we need, and that you don't have to worry about. But this is the first place. And then the second thing is if you're adding new fields, you need to do that in file maintenance, and then that's where Paul's going to take you in.
Yeah, if we look at the file definition report, for instance, for the client, you can, on a field-by-field basis, decide which fields you're going to track history for, and this says that we are not tracking history for the client ID, we're not tracking it for the client full name, we're not tracking it for phone 1, phone 2, phone 3, phone 4, but those could be turned on. If you go into file maintenance, you can turn on a field-by-field basis the history tracking on. So that's about all we're going to say about that. We could probably talk quite a bit longer, but we want to get through the QuickClicks.
I think
Is it my turn?
I think it's your turn, Paul.
Well, we're going to send an email then to Gilbert Andrew Gilbert. Bam, there we go. Now, something we just discovered, Not that we want to give away all the secrets that we discover right away, but we just discovered this. We didn't know this was here. If we send email with multiple people highlighted, we thought that it would send 3 emails, 1 to each, and it doesn't anymore. I don't know if this is new or what, but it sends 1 email to all 3 people, and I think that is the coolest thing since sliced bread. And those of you who know me know that I really do hold my sliced bread in high esteem. Mary Jo?
All right. Find and replace. This is huge. If you're on any kind of a list and you need to replace a field with something else, you can use find and replace to do that. So if I needed to, I don't know what field I would be on in client, but if I needed to change a certain value, maybe I have a list of clients on here that I filtered out and I want to change them all to inactive. I could do a find and replace. It'll ask me, what do you want to find? What do you want to replace it with? Can look at the current list or the highlighted records that I have, certain fields, and I can change. So find and replace is really big if there's a big list of things that you need to change a field on. So that's available in QuickClicks over here in the Take Action. Client
calendar is one of those hidden gems that once you see it, you'll say, where has this been all my life? Let's look at Michael Larson's client calendar. Bam. This is only items for Michael Larson. Very, very cool. You can also do that using the filter. In fact, you'll notice the filter selected, and it's selected to display just this particular client. But what this does is it brings it right out to the client screen. You just highlight a client, hit client calendar, and now we're looking at whoever that other guy, 853.00. So very cool. Just a quick way to get a visual graphical calendar for that particular matter by simply highlighting the matter and hitting client calendar. I'm going to let you take the next 2.
Yep,
Rachel.
The next 2 here have to do with assembling documents. So if you have forms and you have hot docs, we integrate with hot docs, and so you can select that client and go to hot docs assembly and pick whatever document it is that you wanted to assemble in hot docs, and you can do that right from any list here. Also, Word doc assembly that's built into PracticeMaster. You have a Word document and you want to come out here and a template. You want to go ahead and assemble that template. Select your client, click Word document assembly. That will open this up, and you can choose the letter or navigate out to where that letter is stored, and then it will go ahead and it will open that and assemble the document right from here. You could go out to documents and select Word document assembly from there, but you do not have to. You can do that right from QuickClicks.
That's why they call them QuickClicks.
Yeah.
Okay, now what am I going to do here? What's this called, everyone? That's right. We're collapsing. And now we're going to expand report. Now, I'm just going to kind of cover these real quick because they're pretty basic. Print record is the most horrible thing in the world. All it does is print all the fields from that particular record, that client in this instance.
And we do mean all of the fields,
yeah,
whether there's information in them or not.
Yeah, with absolutely no prettiness, if that's a word, and even if it's not. It's just horrible. If I had my choice, I would say this is a vomiting of information to the screen, because that's really all it does. It simply dumps useless information in no particular order, but for that highlighted record. So if you really want to see all the fields and how they're filled in for that record, I suppose it has its utility. Contact usage is kind of cool. Where else does this person appear? Well, he's the contact for this matter. He is in a journal record, and he's in a client record as the client. So this person, this contact that I have highlighted, appears in those places. And then contact usage with no duplicates means that, quite frankly, that if he appears in the same matter a bunch of times, it's only going to show that matter once to show that he's tied to this matter. So again, the reports, mainly the contact usage is what people are looking at, and that's all that's there.
Okay. Workflows. This is where we can manage our workflows, or we can start client activated. User activated. That didn't sound right.
There we go.
User activated workflows will show up here on a list. So if there's something that you just manually have to start a client letter, and it's a user activated workflow, they'll be on this list. Otherwise, you can manage your workflows from here, start new ones. add new ones, whatever it is that you need to do there for workflows.
And we're not going to go into great detail on how workflows work or how you set them up or how you manage them, but just keep in mind that starting a document to be assembled, like the client letter in this example, is just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. We have workflows in our system that sign people up for different mailing lists. We have workflows. We just wrote a workflow, a very cool workflow, that will show what time it is where the person is that you are highlighting. So that if you're going to call this guy and you're like, Phoenix, what time is it in Phoenix? You just hit this workflow and it'll tell you. We have another one that shows a map to where that person's location is. So workflows can do a lot of different things, and we're not even beginning to touch the tip of the iceberg by describing those 4 very cool workflows that I just described. Point is, this is how you access them if they are user activated. Quick views, again, I'm not going to get into a lot of discussion about quick views, but quick views in the QuickClicks usually replicate the tabs that you have. So you'll notice that as I type or click on by category over here gets highlighted or checked. Now I'm on by location is now checked. I can turn it off and take it back to the regular client view here. I'm not going to get into what quick views are. You can kind of tell right now. Here's clients by area of practice with the areas down here. Here's clients by category with the categories down here. Here's clients by attorney with the attorneys down here. Here's clients by location with the locations down here. The thing is, sometimes you don't have enough room here to hold all the different quick views that you want. So you can have quick views that don't show up here but still show up over here. So it's important to know that the quick views section of the QuickClicks area may hold additional quick views that don't show up as tabs. Mainly because they're probably not used as often, and you have so many of them you just don't have enough room for them all.
Okay. Filters. Filters is also another section here where you can build the filters. You can have the filters already in here so that you can quick and refilter your information. These can work with quick views. Again, we're not going to get into how to make these on this particular session, but this is where they are. I have one in here for Pam's clients. This is going to just show me just Pam's clients. MLJ's clients, again, these are just some simple filters no matter what it is that you've done. When you click it, it will then show the green box that is filtered. You can take the filter off just by clicking on the arrow again and then get back to your full list. Sometimes we have clients that have a filter on and they don't know and they're not seeing what they want to see. If you ever come into the screen and see this green filtered box, that means there's a filter on over here. So just open up QuickClicks, come over here and uncheck it. You're back to your full list of clients. You can also manage all the filters in here by building new ones or changing or modifying whatever you need to do there.
Sort by is kind of the same thing. We're not going to tell you how to make an index, but these are your indexes. This particular installation of PracticeMaster in the client file, which is where we are right now, has these indexes built. And I am currently sorting by billing address, I guess. Here, I'm sorting by whether they're active. Here, I'm sorting by contact name. Here, I'm sorting by regular name. Now, you can also sort by clicking on these things.
Column headers.
Column headers. And what you'll see is that it builds these temporary indexes that have an asterisk in front of them and indicates that we are now sorting by phone number. The thing is, phone is not an index that was built ahead of time. And if I had more than a dozen clients, like most of you do, some of my clients have literally hundreds of thousands of matters. If you were to click on phone, you'd get a little box that says building index, and you might be looking at that little box for 10 minutes. So clicking by header to sort when it's not already indexed that way can be
time consuming.
Thank you. And so therefore you have to understand that if you just ask us or somebody in your firm that knows how to build an index, that can make that happen instantly. And if you didn't hear it, I snapped my fingers to indicate instantly. Okay? So filters is one way, or sort by is one way to change your filter, like this is the way it was when it came in, but you can also click on these column headers. Okay?
Column layout goes kind of right along with that. We can change what columns we're showing here on our list screen. So any list screen, if I want this to be client name, phone number, or client name, matter, number, whatever this contact information, I can change these columns by going into my manage column layouts. Right now we're on the client information. If I switch this back to the default out of the box, you get all of the fields on here. Sometimes all we need is the client ID name and phone number, or the client name and the matter description and the phone number. We don't need to see all of these columns. So this is where you can go in and manage that by building either a new column layout or by modifying existing. And that can change this order of what you're seeing on the screen.
Okay, we're almost done. We're in the home stretch. It's very exciting. Manage QuickClicks allows me to do these things, and they're already here. We can refresh, which just means that if we had added something or somebody had added a workflow from another machine and we weren't seeing it, refresh would just rebuild this list. This is where you can set your list preferences. Right now, our row height for client lists is 1 line, but if I change it to 2, I will now see 2 lines for every client. Gives it a little more spacing, makes it a little easier to read. I'm going to change it back to 1. We currently have an alternating white and blue. If I wanted it to be, yellow and blue, now it's yellow and blue. And I changed it back to 1 at the same time. If we want to go back to the defaults, we are now back at the defaults. And Mary Jo, I'm going to let you take the last one.
All right. So configure client pages is just going to help me adjust what I'm actually seeing. What tabs am I seeing on my page? So all of these tabs up here I can control. I should say starting at the calendar over, I can control. You always have your address, setup details, support. Those are part of the client screen. But if I don't want to see the calendar page, I can uncheck that. If I don't want to see the combined journal or the note or the email or phone, I can uncheck those. If I want to see the area of practice pages, this is a big one. If you've added area of practice pages and somebody is not seeing them, these settings are user by user, so they may not have this box checked. And by checking that area of practice page will then make those other area of practice pages visible for those people.
And when they say page, what they really mean is tab.
Yeah, it's a tab up there. So fee, cost, all these things. If you don't want these things broken out, if you want to just have one page, all of that, you can control that right here. And I'll leave that area of practice page on. I don't know if there is anything in there for these, so I'm not sure.
You have to get into the record. You have to double click.
Yeah, let me get it. There we go. See all my tabs I have up here for all those area of practice pages? You can control that right there on that screen. So if I go back into my configure client pages and take that off, and then I click on that client, I won't see those pages anymore. It just stays as what I had. So that's where I can control that. That's where I can see it. So just as we're coming into this other, I'm on another screen just to show you what we talked about earlier, these QuickClicks changed. There's some that are the same, but there's some that are missing. There's some that are not here anymore. There's an additional one. It just depends on what screen you're on. So those things, those QuickClicks change with what you're looking at.
Hence the name QuickClicks. They're very specific to the page you're on, but they're a quick way to click on it without having to right-click or know where to go to find it. Now, I'm very surprised. I didn't think we could cover all this in 30 minutes, but we did. However, we're going to have to rely on the fact that we started 2 minutes late to allow Leanne to present the question that she has just indicated that we have waiting for us.
Actually, Paul, I think you may have already answered this question. It was back in the beginning under the Take Action with the e-Notify. And the question is that a separately licensed add-on?
Well, it's part of Platinum. E-Notify and eNotes, if you click it, you'll actually find that if you don't have Platinum, it tells you why you should. If I had clicked this in a Platinum version of the program, I'd actually get an eNote with a link to this particular record. But since I don't have it, it doesn't actually work. So yeah,
you don't have it in our sample version.
In our sample
right,
data, you have to have Platinum to have that. And this particular instance of sample data is not a Platinum version. Any more questions, Leanne?
No more questions.
Okay. Well, I will I will tell you that we're looking for people to do the version 18 beta, so don't forget that. But before I get into how to do that, let me tell you that next month, we kind of hinted that you could control filters through the QuickClicks. Next month, Mary Jo is going to make a simple filter for, I believe, the client file to show you just how easy it is to filter your data to show specific things in a list. And I'm going to talk about conflict searching in PracticeMaster and give you best practices for how to do conflict searches. Now, if you are interested in the beta, I'm going to go out here and tell you that if you go to www.tabs3.com/pre-release, and don't put a dash in like I always want to, tabs3.com/pre-release, you will end up at a different page. It's actually a form website called Woofoo, whatever that means. And but that's where you fill out a form. It gives you some details about some of the major highlights of version 18. It prompts you for your name, firm, a couple bits of details. And this goes straight to the pre-release people, the pre-release department at STI. They almost immediately react to it because they're getting down to the wire and they want to get as many people in the pre-release copy as they can before they get it out the door. This helps them to get people's opinions on how things might change before they release it. If you have wanted to do the pre-release but found out you couldn't do it because you were using tabs to process credit cards, and I don't mean just to record the payment, but to actually process the credit card using their credit card processing functionality, we have now learned that within a week or two, even you should be able to get the pre-release, even if you're using that credit card processing functionality. So everybody that wants the pre-release should fill out this form, and you will almost instantly get it unless you have to wait for that credit card functionality to be finalized in its pre-release state. I will also tell you that if you go to Attorney Computer Systems, with an emphasis on that S there at the end of systems.com, you will find, among other things, all of our videos. And so you are currently in the PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting. We also have Tabs 3 and World Docs Virtual User Group meetings. And we have a Coffee Pot webinar. So these are all four things are live events. So when we click, for instance, on the PracticeMaster User Group meeting, we get registration information for the next event, which is now November. And as we scroll down, we will find recorded versions of every PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting that we have ever had. So lots and lots of content here. What is it, Mary Jo? 4 or 5 years now that we've been recording these? All sorts of interesting stuff. We also have 2 pre-recorded titles. We have the Paul and Mary Jo Show, I love that title, and the eBytes video series. eBytes videos are Mary Jo's monthly recordings. She makes 3 of them each month, 1 on Tabs, 1 on PracticeMaster, 1 on World Docs. They're little 2, 3, 4 minute videos that go straight to the point of a very specific feature and instantly describe how that feature will benefit you and how you can use it. The Paul and Mary Jo Show is a little bit more substantive, but usually a broader topic. So Mary Jo or myself will take a topic and spend 10 or 15 or even 20 minutes describing it and all of its implications and what you need to look out for and how you need to use that. You can also navigate all of this information by simply using our search box to type something like, for instance, email, and you'll either choose from the pop-up list that pops, or you will hit enter and get a list of all the video titles that match that particular search. So lots of information here. Do not hesitate to watch every video. You will not forget it. You will not regret it. You will not be able to see straight for a couple days, but that's beside the point. Everybody have a good rest of the day and rest of the month, and we will see you back here in November. Thanks much. Bye-bye.